Hello and welcome to MJTV. I am your host, Matthew James. I am a renowned international medium and clairvoyant, and I've been a working medium now for over 20 years. I've done platform work. I do live shows, and I've got my own brand of mediumship, my own way that I communicate. I've got my own way of getting information across to people, and I've got my own connections on the other side. They work with me in a certain way, and the way I work is probably going to be unique to other people. I'm not sort of spiritual church trained. I'm sort of a development group trained, so self-trained. I've sort of adopted my own style. Now, the idea really of this broadcast is to briefly discuss how I communicate. It's just to give any budding mediums, clairvoyants that might be watching this video, just an insight into how I do it. I've got to state that self-taught is the best way. I feel when you're self-taught, you've not got a rigid structure. You're not specifically looking for things that a teacher or a mentor has told you that you must be able to do this, or you can do this and you mustn't go that way. I did have that for a number of years. I got told that I was pigeonholed into certain things. I mean, how many people go to a development group? They haven't a clue what ability they've got, and they put total faith and total trust into the leader or the teacher of the circle, and they say, oh yeah, you're going to be a clairsentient, you're going to be a clairaudient. And first of all, you haven't a blooming clue what a clairsentient is or a clairaudient is. You've just come off the streets. You do some research and you find out the clairsentient feels. They feels things, they get information, it's the sense of smell. You find out that the clairaudient is supposed to hear. Now, I got told I was clairaudient, and for a number of years, I mean, even now, I anticipated the clairaudience was Joe Bloggs from the spirit world wanted to talk about his mum on the earth plane, and I would hear the clear voice, bang, I would get that information and I would hear it like I'm talking now. So I went and asked the mentor at the time, the teacher at the time, and I said, why am I not hearing it like that? Oh, you've got to have the voice box fitted. You've got to have this special device that they give you, so then you can then communicate with them. I went, okay, fine. Wasn't told how I would know that this special voice box thing was fitted. Then I started experiencing, about 10 years ago, this extreme pain going in my right ear. It felt like somebody had put something into my ear and going right down here, right into my shoulder here, with this absolutely almighty pain. And I started getting whistles and all sorts of different noises going on in my ear. And basically somebody on the spirit world said to me, oh, you've just had your voice box fitted, we can now communicate with you. This is the tube that goes in. We'll be able to talk through you. You can now speak. You'll be able to speak the multiple languages, and you can work now. I didn't think anything of it, and yeah, okay. I'm still waiting for the externalized voice, and I don't think I'll ever will get the externalized voice. But I then realised that clairaudience is also getting the direct voice, and the voice that is actually in your mind. It's the voices that speak. It's the schizophrenic thing where you hear the voices in your head. That's clairaudience as well. So I suddenly realised I'm clairaudient, because I actually hear conversations, I hear the communications in my mind. I can catch the inflections, I can catch the accents of the people. I can say, oh, your grandfather was a Glaswegian, or I can say, oh yeah, your mother Mary was an Irish lady, or I can get those accents because I get the inflections in my mind. I always can tell if I get a POM, if I get somebody from the UK, where they're from. Because I've got the accents in my head in a sort of a memory bank. So that's the clairaudient bit. The clairsentience bit, I didn't realise, really appreciate what clairsentience was until all of a sudden 15 years ago I'm sitting in an expo over in the UK, and I started with this almighty pain in my chest. I thought I was having a heart attack. and all here was all exploding. I was really, really, really in pain here. And the lady opposite me is asking, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And I'm going, "Yeah, fine. I know I've got your grandfather, but I don't really feel very well at the moment. I feel like I'm having a heart attack." I can remember the woman turning around and saying, "You've got my grandfather. He had a heart attack. He died of a heart attack." Oh, it was really painful. I said, "It was here." She said, "Yeah, it was everywhere." And I suddenly realised then that maybe this is something that I'm being given. Maybe this is the way that I'm going to communicate. So in further readings, I started getting sore arms, and I'd say, "Oh, your grandmother, she had a terrible arthritis in this arm." Yes, she did. I would then start with really bad headache, for example, and I'd say, "I've got a really bad headache." "Oh yeah, well, your dad did have a really bad headache." And the penny dropped that all of a sudden I'm getting these physical symptoms coming through. So I was then able to realise that this is a way that I'm going to work. I thought it was physical mediumship, because at the time I was doing the transmediumship and the transfiguration work, where I was sitting the classic with the red light behind, and I was having faces come through, and I was doing all of the old traditional stuff with the transfiguration work. It was only a few weeks later where I did a meditation. I was one of my own meditations, and I'm sort of floating above the body, and I've got various people talking to me, and somebody said, "Well, look, the way we want you to work, a lot of people on the spirit world are not prepared to come through because the ailments that they had are too painful to remember. So what we want you to do is, when somebody comes and communicates with you, they will give you those physical symptoms because you're on the earth plane, so they can stay on their fluffy little cloud and not feel these symptoms. So you can then experience what they pass with and pass it on to their family members as a validation." So me in my meditation state went, "Fine, cool, yeah, do it, no problem." And from that day, spirit come through to me. They pass all their conditions on. My clients are looking at me and feeling really sorry for me because I've got like major things going on with me. I've had a grand mal epileptic fit in front of someone because that's what the husband had. I've had women's troubles. I've had impotence. I won't go on that one. There's a story to tell with that one, but I won't go there. I've basically had where people have had legs amputated. I've had accidents where people have been shot, and I've had that experience. I've had where people have had the throat slit, and I've actually had the physical conditions, and that is no word of a lie. I've had those actual physical conditions, and believe me, it is not the best way in the world to communicate. I've sort of now, I mean, it's water off a duck's back for me, but anybody on the outside watching this will not believe this until they've actually experienced it themselves. All I'm going to warn is if anyone is ever in a meditation and someone offers that deal with you, do not sign the contract. Do not agree to it. It is blimmin' painful. Anyway, that's beside the point because time's moving on. So I'm clairaudient. I do hear the voices. I'm clairsentient because I realise that the feeling the symptoms is part of clairsentience, is sensing. And I'm also obviously the clairvoyant. Now, the way that the clairvoyant works, I always get images the back of my mind. Usually what happens is I do a remote viewing. I actually go out of my physical body and I'll be somewhere. I'll describe a house, or I'll be at an airport, or I'll be in front of a car or a person, and I actually describe that information to people because I'm there. And as far as I'm concerned, that's part and parcel of clairvoyance, as well as the future gazing bit, where I'm able myself to be given a problem that a person has, and I can see how it started, I can see where they are with it, and I can see the outcome. To me, that's true clairvoyance, where you can see the past, the present, and the future in one. You're seeing it from the spiritual perspective, because when you're on the spirit plane, you don't have past, present, and future. It's all parallel. So when you stand on that spirit world plane and you straddle it with this world, you can see those three, like a 3-lane highway. So you're going to basically see, let me get me just hand in the right way with the microphone. Right, you'll see there's the past, there's the present, there's the future. You see it as one. And to me, that is what true clairvoyance is all about. Being able to see the past, the present, and the future, you're seeing with spirit eyes. So yeah, and just briefly, also just it's another subject within itself. The idea of guides. Um, I'm not knocking guides, but I don't personally have guides myself, aside from members of family who've passed and friends who have passed who will come and give me information. When I get the information, I have to literally go out my body. I literally have to bilocate. I've got to go out there and I get that information and I bring it back to myself. It's absolute chaos when I'm actually on a stage, because you can imagine there's an audience of say 100 people. There can be 200, 300, 400 people around me all trying to communicate. Maybe 400 is a bit of an exaggeration, but I've lost count at times when I've seen how many people are around me. Now, if they're all deciding to talk at once, how the hell am I supposed to differentiate who I'm going to and what I'm going to? It's like being in the middle of a railway station and everybody's talking to you at the same time. That's the only disadvantage of doing it the way that I do it. But normally what happens then is I'll get my late father, or I'll get a late uncle, or I'll get a couple of my close friends who will at that point link to me and start marshalling these people and say, hang on a minute, look, he's trying to get through to this audience here. You all need to sort of get in line. That there is what I understand as the guides that work with me. I don't get the Native American, or I don't get the Chinese guy, or I don't get the Cleopatra figures. I don't get anything like that. I get people who they come in and they will assist me when I need to. And now, this is going to be a part one. I don't know what I'm going to call it at this point. It's a follow-on from the Mystic Switchboards that I've been doing, but it really is just an explanation and an insight into how I work as a medium. And like I say, it's a part one. There will be a part two. So I'm going to leave this broadcast at this point now. And I want to basically say that I was your host, Matthew James. You've been watching MJTV. My website, you'll be able to see it on the screen, www.matthewjamesmedium.com. You'll be able to contact me there. I'm also on Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/MJMedium, which is capital letters. I've got a public figure page there, and I'm very friendly on there. I can assure you I'm very friendly on there. I also am on Twitter, @MattJamesMedium, and obviously my email address, which is the important means of connection, is matthewjamesmedium@gmail.com. Now I'm going to leave it there, and thank you for watching.